Welcome back. This major story that we are tracking that has implications for all of us. The country's economy shrank by a staggering 51% between the months of April and June this year. Statistics South Africa has just confirmed its GDP figures for the second quarter of this year. eNCA's Devan Murugan joins us now for more details on that. And Devan, I suppose it comes as no surprise really that we've seen this contraction, and we are not the only ones globally to experience this harsh impact of COVID-19.
Phyllis, we are not. I mean, global lockdowns have halted economic activity in countries across the world. Let's take Japan, for example. Its economy shrinking 28% in the second quarter. China, that was the first to be hit by COVID-19, shrinking 3.2% in the first quarter. Now, South Africa's economy shrank between April and June by a staggering 51%, like you said. We've seen the strictest lockdown globally, with many industries totally shut down, with the exception of some mines and essential sectors. But to us, here's the difference here. The graphic will show you that COVID-19 did not take us into a recession. Take a look at those quarters before the latest one. This economy was already limping before COVID-19, a few quarters in recession there. So, we're dealing with an economy that was already in dire straits before COVID-19 came through.
So, Devan, one would expect almost all the sectors to have experienced steep contractions, with all of them shedding jobs as a result, right?
And I said, in your preamble, you've mentioned that the greatest impact would be on people, ordinary South Africans, who would lose jobs as a result of these industries being in such a position. And industries shut down across the economy during those months. All of those industries felt more than a pinch. I want to take you through some of them now, and we start with the primary sector. Look at that, down 51%. Agriculture, as you've heard the Statistician General talking there, a 15% increase. Of course, food production had to have taken place, so that's the only positive in this entire sheet here. And look at that mining there, staggering 73.1%. You'll remember mines at the very beginning of this lockdown also shut down and then gradually came through. And it takes a very big amount of jobs. Let's switch to the next sector there. You'll find that in the secondary sector, which includes manufacturing, electricity and construction, look at that, to a staggering 74% decline. Now, I need not tell you that manufacturing holds thousands of jobs. In fact, about 10% of workers in this country are employed in the manufacturing sector. You can only imagine what happens when that sector experiences that downfall. Construction, well, it's obvious. Tools were down, buildings were not coming up, bridges were not coming up, schools weren't being built, so you see a staggering decline in construction as well. Let's move on and see the other parts of the economy as to what happened between those months in April and June. Transport, 67% on a decline. Finance there, Tullus, for a long time, the banks in the private sector were actually creating jobs and doing quite well. But of late, we also see the finance sector in that lockdown period, 28% or just under 29% down on that sector, Tullus.
So let me speak to the oracle in you then, Devan. How do we fix it?
Well, plans will come and go. We've seen everything from the NDP to other plans, business summits, investment summits. But, the key question is implementation. The graphic you were seeing there puts the number into perspective, Tullus. Minus 7.2% GDP for 2020 this year. That's what's expected from Treasury. But what do we need to even start reversing the trend of unemployment? We've got 11 million people, working age people, out of work. The only time we can change that is if this economy expands or grows by a rate of 5%. Now, just compare where we are this year in a forecast, minus 7.2 versus a positive expansion of 5%. We are very, very far away from that. Depending on who you speak to, business, labor or government, they'll kind of give you a different intervention in terms of fixing this economy. But I think we'll all wait and see what happens with this joint statement between all of these social partners somewhere around the end of September that will come up with some concrete interventions to boost up this economy. Business says we should just, release more spectrum. We should get a policy certainty back on track. Labour will tell you we need to tame business so that they don't do as they please. Government, of course, will promise that they will will increase their competency and their governance at state-owned enterprises and at the government level. So the answers vary, but one thing's for sure, if we don't get this economy growing, Tulis, we will be in a very difficult position as far as job losses is concerned.
Absolutely, Devan. We live in hope, right? I mean, at some point the fall has to stop and we start digging our way up.